Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to Monday Morning Leadership. I want to extend a very happy Memorial Day here to those of you in the U.S. as we celebrate Memorial Day, those who have given their lives in defending our country's freedom. So happy Memorial Day first off. Again, welcome to Monday Morning Leadership. We're going to be looking at characteristic number 11 today, listening. And I had a good listen on that yesterday. So to connect with your hearts, use your ears. Woodrow Wilson said the ear of the leader must ring with the voices of the people. And John Maxwell himself said, a good leader encourages followers to tell him what he needs to know, not what he needs to hear. And in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, Maxwell points out that leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand. Okay, that's the law of connection. But before a leader can touch a person's heart, he has to know what's in this. And he learns this by listening. And listening is one of the main characteristics of a servant leader. Along with that is empathy. And they go hand in hand. I want to comment on that real quick because, again, you can listen but not really hear what somebody's saying. So I really believe true listening requires empathy. You have to kind of put yourself in the other person's shoe to really hear. If you're just kind of here watching their lips move and it goes over your head and all that, you're not really listening. So empathy is integrally related to that, especially if you're practicing proper servant leadership. So again, they go hand in hand. An unwillingness to listen is too common among poor leaders. Okay, and it was noted by management expert Peter Drucker that the overwhelming majority of communication problems, guess what, came from poor listening. Think about that and let it sink in for a bit. A lot of voices are out there clamoring for your and my attention every day. As you think about how you spend your listening time, keep in mind that you really have two reasons or purposes for listening. One's to connect with people, the other is to learn. For that reason, you should keep your ear open to these groups of people. One, your followers. Good leaders, the kind that people want to follow, do more than conduct business when they interact with their followers, okay? They take time to get a feel for who each one is as a person. And if you're in the habit of listening only to the facts and not to the person who expresses them, change your focus and really listen. Secondly is your customers. If this is a traditional business, this is interesting and humorous. A Cherokee saying states, listen to the whispers and you won't have to hear the screams. Again, think about that one. Let that one sink in too. That's an interesting way to put it. But Maxwell says he's amazed by the leaders who are so caught up in their own ideas that they never hear their customers' concerns, complaints, and suggestions. And we can all point to or probably recall companies who have suffered the results of that because they weren't hearing their customers. And they're either struggling or they're out of business. Okay, so you got to listen to what people are saying, particularly brick and mortar business. You got to listen to what your customers are saying, because if you don't, stuff's going to happen. It's not going to be positive. All right, so Bill Gates said, we all know Bill Gates, unhappy customers are always a concern, right? And they're also your greatest opportunity. So think about that one. Good leaders always make it a priority to keep in contact with the people they're serving. I have to say that's absolutely true. Keep in contact with the people they are serving. And then 3, you've got your competitors, right? We all have competition. Sam Markowitz announced jokingly, he goes, if you don't agree with me, it means you haven't been listening. Okay. Larry King says, I remind myself every morning, nothing I say this day will teach me anything. So if I'm going to learn, I must do it by listening. And as a leader, you should be able to listening and learning what you can do to improve yourself. Okay. And then fourthly is your mentors. And we're going to talk about this real briefly. No leader so advanced or experienced, Maxwell says, that he can afford to be without a mentor. And I've got to agree. And I'll add, mentorship is crucial, even though at times it appears to be a lost aspect of personal development. I've learned so much from leaders who have more experience than I have. And I've got 4 mentors in my life that help provide me input, evaluation, guidance, and perspective. And I'm thankful for those. If you don't have a mentor, go out and find one. I am amazed on this. I've talked about this separately, that people who say, well, I've done good so far without a mentor. And I'm thinking, well, what are you comparing yourself to? I don't know how people get through life or business, or it could be church, nonprofit groups, without having somebody as a mentor showing them the way. If you can't get somebody to help you in person, begin the process by reading books. And you can also reference my video on YouTube about personal development, because I talk about this. In fact, John Maxwell's book, Developing the Leader Within You 2.0, would be a really good place to start. So you can begin the process by reading books. Again, personal development is critical, and that's actually where I got started. The main thing here is really to get the process underway, right? If nothing changes, nothing changes. So get the process underway. So let's reflect here with a few questions. Are you a good listener? Okay. And then when was the last time you really paid close attention to people and what they have to say? Start listening not only for words, but also for feelings, meanings, and undercurrents. And this is where you have to have empathy coupled with listening. So here's some suggestions to improve your listening. Okay, and we can all do better on this. My wife will tell you I can do a better job on it. Okay, so change your schedule. Do you spend time listening to your followers, customers, competitors, and mentors, just like that list that we already described? Okay, if you don't, you should. If you don't have all 4 groups on your calendar regularly, you're probably not giving them enough attention. So that should be an indicator there for you. And then schedule time each day or weekly or on a monthly basis, okay? And then meet people on their own turf. A key to being a good listener is to find common ground with people, right? And that takes people skills too, I've got to add. The next time you meet someone in one of these previously mentioned groups, discipline yourself to ask 4 to 5 questions about them as a person. And I will just give you a tip, something I learned years ago is, family, occupation, recreation, message. Ask them about their family. How's their family doing? Do they have kids? How are their kids doing? Occupation, what do you do for work? Tell me a little bit more about it. What are your challenges, etc. And then recreation, what do they do in their spare time? What type of hobbies are they engaged in? Those type of things. So that can really help as a people skill way when you're talking to people, is think about those questions and ask them, and be sincere about it too. So then lastly is listen between the lines. As you interact with people, you certainly want to pay attention to the factual content of the conversation, but don't ignore the emotional content, right? You got to look at body language, facial expressions, all that type of stuff. Sometimes you can learn more about what's going on by reading between the lines, right? Again, body language will say a lot. Spend time in the coming days and weeks listening with your heart. Okay? Thank you guys so much for joining me today, Memorial Day. Please feel free to hit the subscribe button if you got value out of this message. I do hope it provided that. And then you are also more than welcome to connect with me on social media. The links I'll provide. Have an awesome Memorial Day, guys. Bye-bye.